said I struggle to get in line. Hustle from the bottom, no cousin, no line. 365 and them days in the phone shine. Hustle till I die, so I never outshine. Your mama tell
What up, though, people? It's your man, Prof, and we're back with another episode, new season of Cigars with Friends. We took a little hiatus. You know, we had a lot of things going on with Kasi Cigars. Now it's Kasi is popping, so make sure y'all check that out. You know, every episode is going to be powered by Kasi, Ka-Si Cigars.com. You'll see it at the bottom on the ticker. Make sure y'all check out the website, man, and show some love. But I got a great show to y'all. I got my homeboy from college, my boy Carl. He's going to kick it with us. I got my family, Kev from Kevin's All Seasons. He's going to kick it with us. We're just going to chop it up, do what we do. You know, tonight I'm rolling with the Kasi Detroit. It's going to be my stick of choice. On Cigars with Friends, we smoke cigars, talk about different things, you know what I mean? But everybody doesn't smoke cigars, but we still going to do what we do. And make sure y'all enjoy it, like it, share it. Let's run these numbers up. Let me bring everybody in. What up, though? Y'all good?
What up, though? What up, though? Hey, look, you know I love Detroit, bro. I was out there for 6 months. So I'm a what up, though, all day long. I love that. You know.
Yeah, I remember when you was down here.
Oh,
you came through
the.
That's back when I was doing music. You came to one of the shows. I remember that. That's what's up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we ain't been on air in a minute. Like I said, I've been working on getting the cigar brand going. It's rolling now, so now we can get back to the podcast. We'll be doing this weekly. Majority of the time, it'll be every Sunday around 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So that way, everybody chilling at home on a Sunday, they can kick it with us. Make sure y'all getting them comments. You know what I'm saying? We definitely watching these comments, and we're going to show some love. But I want to start it off multiple things. Like, I want to get into some entrepreneurial stuff since we all three are business owners and entrepreneurs. And knowing the new year, a lot of people start new businesses. You know, they get that income tax money, or it just they take that step in the new year. You know, everybody else, a new year, they want to do something, which I'm a big believer of. If you're ready to do it, just do the shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we here. So what advice, I'm gonna start with you, Carl. What advice, since you launch businesses for a living, what advice would you give an entrepreneur that's trying to start their business just off the gate?
Man, do something that you love and do it for people. Don't do it for money. I tell people all the time, because, you know, if you're doing it just for the money, the problem is when the money is not as plentiful as you would like to be, or not as easy as you like to be, you're gonna quit. You know,
lose that motivation.
Yeah, you lose that motivation, or you'll get shiny object syndrome, or you'll get desperate. You know, and that's one thing I tell people all the time. You never want to get desperate. So if you're doing it for the people and you're helping people, you'll start to see the growth no matter what. You know, so I give that's my number one push to tell everybody: do something that you're good at for people, and don't do something just because it's a trend. Do it because it's something that you can do.
I think that's some good advice. What you think, Kev?
Yeah, I definitely concur with that. You know, being a businessman in business now, 26 years here in the city, it's never a day that goes by, or maybe at the most a week, when someone doesn't ask me, how did you get started? Through the pandemic, I'm quite sure there's a lot of people who, leaned on, their creativity, and just the fact that, it was just so many jobs that were slashed or put on pause. It created a lot of entrepreneurs. The beginning of the year always, is like a resolution. You got people who just, think about, the things that they wanted to do, and, then they take a leap of faith. But yeah, I definitely agree with Carl. Do something that it would potentially do if you wasn't getting paid for it. That may be kind of an oxymoron, because we do all what we do for profit, but right. I definitely know I love what I do, and the money is just the end result.
Yeah, that's definitely good advice. One thing I always tell people that ask me advice for that, I just be saying, don't be afraid to fail, because most people get in their heads when they're trying to start a business. I always use the bread analogy. They be like, oh, well, there's a lot of people that's doing it, but that's not you. If you go to the grocery store, it's 30 different brands of bread on the shelf. You're going to pick the one you want. So if you're doing what you're supposed to do, the people will pick you. And when I went to a podcast convention in 2020, right before the pandemic, and the guy who ran, I believe his name was Chris Christmas. He had a book called Start Up. But most people just want everything to be perfect, and that's just not life. Sometimes you got to get this shit started, and once you get rolling, you learn how to fix the kinks and build onto your brand or whatever you're doing. Because you're gonna have a lot of naysayers telling you not to do the shit, and most of the time the people that are telling you not to do it never done it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Was not gonna have 2020 to your vision. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's one big thing I tell people all the time, because a lot of the shit I tried ain't work. Some of it stuck, some of it flopped. You know what I'm saying? But I never want to be like, man, what if I shoulda, coulda, woulda type. Like that should have irked me.
Oh yeah.
That should have definitely irked me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's just my big take on that. So, but what do you think, far as like being an entrepreneur? What would you think was your hardest hurdle? I'll start with you, Kev. This one. You got the longevity in the game, so I'm sure more than us.
I think one of the hardest hurdle and it just really overcame it was being able to get any type of revenue, any type of capital. That's always been a huge hurdle in any business, but definitely in mine. But I tell people, now, being that there's a lot more avenues, even with hard money loans and different things like that. There's a lot more ways to get started. You always hear that, the theory of, you're not gonna make any money the first 5 years. It felt like we made money faster than the first 5 years, but theoretically, you do have to, have all of your ducks in a row, knowing what your overhead is versus your sales and things like that. But yeah, definitely, it's one of those things where I would tell people to, take it slow, but have some determination and understand that, it's going to be some ups and downs, but you got to stick with it.
Same question to you, Carl.
Yeah, as he was talking, I'm saying, like, what's the hardest? Like, I think honestly the hardest is getting out the friend zone. You know what I'm saying? And as no one likes to live in the friend zone. It's something that's often used when they talk about, relationships and stuff. But yeah, getting out of that friend zone, I had the pleasure, like I said, I went to a HBCU, grew up in Prince George's County. So I have a strong network. And so, you kind of rely on it. Like when I had my photography business, I still have it, but when I had my photography business, I kind of just could always get a friend or family to do a photo shoot or a wedding or something like that. The same thing with my ethical hacking business and all of that. But with this one, I was determined not to be in the friend zone. So that meant doing things in a way that was different. I had to invest more, because, I couldn't just go off the fact that people knew me and knew I could do stuff. I had, whether it was buying Facebook ads, going places I didn't normally go, stand up at night, being a little more, determined to make stuff tight, because strangers not going to overlook your mistakes. Friends might, because they give you the benefit of the doubt, but strangers not going to do that. So it was really having a determination to get out of the friend zone of my business so that I could expand and grow and be in a position where, I'm able to, if none of my friends by myself, which I hope they do, but if they don't, I'll still be able to survive. Like that's really what it is, getting out of that friend zone, because so many people I know who have quote unquote businesses, you see those posts, you'll support Rihanna, but you won't support your homie. I'm like, I mean, that's not up to them. It's not up to them to support my business. It's up to me to support my business. So, getting out of the friend zone, that's number one.
It's funny you said that, because I'm petty, right? So like I have multiple companies, but I have a cigar brand. So if I see somebody that I'm cool with and I see them smoking cigars and they never got none from me, I screenshot it and I put it in a folder. And I feel like you don't owe me shit. You don't. You don't have to, like you say, you just because we cool, you don't have to purchase my product, but I know. You know what I'm saying? So back of my mind, I'm like, you ever come back around and need something from me, God damn it. I'm gonna remember that. But I think my thing was capital, especially startup. You know what I'm saying? That'd be the thing, because most of us are using whatever we do for a living to finance the business, which is kind of taken away from home. It's other type of stress that come with that. So I think startup capital, or even working capital at sometimes, is a big hurdle in business, being a small, especially minority business. You know what I'm saying? So just trying to get funding. So most of the time we have to fund it ourselves and just move on as we grow. I think that's one of the big things. And then even learning how to try to get to the funding, which is once you get to it, it's still hard to get. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that we have platforms like this that we can try to get the information that we already learned to the people that's watching. Because I always tell my friends that I bump my head so y'all could duck. And I think that's just like a community-based thing we should be like. If I got the information, I don't mind sharing it with you. I think one thing we do as a culture, we hoard our information. And we don't share it. You know what I'm saying? Then some people don't deserve to share too, because some people just trying to jump on for the quick buck. So that'll kind of deter you from sharing as well. But in the big scheme of things, if you see somebody trying and you know that they going the wrong route, I think you should step in and show them some love, or just give them the information. If they take it, they don't. But at least you know you tried to help them, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and to that point, that's kind of what I'm building my current business, Launch with Carl. That's what I'm building it off of. I'm building it off of the struggles that I had in the beginning. Like, for instance, like you said, working capital, I created something called 4 Days to Launch, where you're able to use the fact that you're in the friend zone to get you that working capital. So I teach people, like, all right, over the course of these 4 days, do these things to get money in your pocket to fund the business. It's not necessarily going to help you, buy your car, but it's so while you're trying to get, the credit or the loan or something like that, you got something where you can invest in the business. So you're not digging deep into your pocket, because some people need to start a business or want to start a business, but they live in check to check. So how do you overcome that? The same thing. And then you were talking about with the access to funding. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not a finance person, but what I did was I went out and found some good folks, and they come in and they train my clients on how to get the credit and all that type of stuff. And I think part of it, like you said, finding the people who have bumped their heads. I mean, you tall, I'm short, so you go back a lot more than me. But I think the whole, finding as many people as possible who have bumped their heads or gone down a path to say, hey, look, what did you do? If I got to pay you to tell me how not to bump my head, I will do it, because I know in the long run that's going to help. And I think that's even one of the things, like you talked about, in our community. Not only do we hoard information, we don't value information enough. We don't value that somebody has done something and that they're trying to, they're marketing it because it's going to make your journey easier than you trying to figure it out yourself. I tell, when at the end of my free webinars, I always say you got two choices. You can take what I told you today and try to do it yourself. It's going to be trial and error, or you can hire me to do it for half the time and half the price.
Yeah, one thing about that, you can make the money back. You're not going to get that time you wasted back.
I tell people all the time, I'd rather anybody waste my money than waste my time.
Yeah, that's real, because this is any business. It's always going to have, you're going to have room for growth, but you got room for failure. But if you got somebody that's already in that industry, or they have information, they better you in what you're doing, spend that money. All you're doing is investing in yourself. You invest in anything else, you invest in some J's, you invest into a car, you invest into you invest into your wants, but not your needs. Right. I think that's a big problem as far as with business owners, because you know what I'm saying, you got to think about it, you have to spend. You know what I'm saying? You got a guy that's doing credit repair, you got a guy that's teaching business credit, you got a guy that's doing that. If that information, if you're not willing to put them time in and research it yourself, pay for it. And it ain't a waste of money, because you're gonna get it back.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think
I've never made less than I paid for somebody to teach me something. Never. Yeah.
Right. Because you gotta for one, you're gonna make money off the information, and then two, you could sell the information you learned to somebody else.
Yeah. Legit. I remember you said last week, maybe about a few weeks ago, you're gonna pay one way, you're gonna pay one way.
One way or the other, you're gonna pay.
Yeah, and that's the truth. And I even, like I said, I tell my clients, you will make more from me than you pay me. guaranteed. And that's my goal. Like I'm not even doing it like it's otherwise it's not worth it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. And that's just some real information. And I just want people to take heed to that and just do. And then if you don't want to pay, I mean, we're not telling you to make you to pay. Well, do the research.
Yeah.
The big thing about it is research, man. Anything is about research and learning what you're doing. Like when we started the cigar brand, you know how like we would smoke cigar, but we didn't know about fillers. I didn't know about the fillers or what plant it came from, this region of what country. It's so much that you got to learn. And luckily, I met a guy. Shout out to my boy Jamel from Definition Cigars out of Dallas, and he mentored me. You know what I'm saying? He put me up on information that I didn't even know about, and it changed. It helped me scale within. I met this guy in August, and from August to now, just the information I got from him took my brand to a different level. Like I had a 2-year plan, and we already there in year 1.
See, yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's just sometimes you gotta shut the fuck up and listen. You know what I mean? And then if
that's what
somebody
we don't do that real well. A lot of people want to go from the bottom to the top, and skip all those steps in between.
I mean, you know how many people that'll call me and ask a question and give me the answer? Make that make sense.
What you call me for?
Yeah, like you gonna tell me the answer, but I just gave you my answer. I'm gonna tell you a story, right? I ain't gonna say the guy's name. About 5 years ago, maybe longer than that, maybe 2013, one of my buddies was doing music. So he had a contract with Curtis Blow. He called me up like, yo, Curtis Blow want to sign me. I don't know. I can't understand this contract. I say, send it to me. I'll look over it and let you know. I read the contract. I say, bro, don't sign this contract. It's some bullshit. I say, well, the same thing he's about to do for you, you can do for yourself for $75. He said, damn. I say, huh? He signed the contract before he even sent it to me. So now he locked in a contract with Curtis Blow. Now, Curtis Blow, we gonna give him his legendary status, but ain't nobody checking for Curtis Blow. So him being with Curtis Blow is not helping your music career. So he paid Curtis Blow to be signed, and they distributed his music digitally. Well, he could have put his whole album. I could have put his whole album out for $75 at the time, and he could have owned 100% of everything. Yep. So now he's locked in a 2-year contract, which within 90 days of the 2 years, if you don't request to get out, it automatically reciprocates for 2 more years, which of course you ain't gonna remember. You ain't about to set, you know what I'm saying? That's the whole setup of the contract. Now he was locked into this contract with Curtis Blow, who ain't dropped the album since 85, and he paid for it. So you paid this man, he ain't doing nothing but make tops off your money. He paid the distribution fee to put your shit on iTunes and all that, pocket the money. Now, if you ever blow, whatever go, it comes to him first and he pays you. And that's just lack of information and knowledge of yourself. Yeah. Signing shit without reading it or having somebody look it over. Paying a lawyer to look it over. Just paying a regular motherfucker like me that knows definitions. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm about the third paragraph. Oh, this is some bullshit. And that's information that we gotta be up on, like learning shit ourselves. And if somebody has the information, shit, pay their fees and go through the process so you can learn. And I'm not saying that. Some people out here juking people and scamming. I ain't saying be stupid and pay everybody, but do your research on that person. See what clients they got. See what them clients are successful, or see if their clients will give you some feedback on what they do. Because most of everybody is connected through social media, so it ain't hard to track this shit. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's just a big thing for me. And I've learned, like I talk like me and Kevin talk for hours. And we go from, we do totally two opposite businesses, but it all parallels in some sense. It's still business, buy and sell.
Exactly.
Customer service. You know what I'm saying? It's all the same shit. We can all feed off of each other's. But I just think that a lot of people need to see it. That's why I like to talk about, like, almost every episode, no matter what our topics be, we talk about entrepreneurship because that's something that I'm passionate about. And that's something that I thrive on. Like, I've been wanting to run my own business since I was 16. My uncle Kenny had a rental car place, and I got my first check. It was like $1,000. I thought you couldn't tell me nothing. I'm 16 with $1,000 check, no bills. He pulled me to the side and showed me his check was $10,000. He said, "There's a difference between an employee and an employer." That was 1996. He fucked me up for not wanting a 9 to 5 since then. Yeah, and that's always been my thrive. Like, one thing about entrepreneurship, like, it has its pros and its cons. Because you can go to work 3-4 days in a row and not make $1. That's just the nature of the business. But you can get that lump that one day and it balances out. Yeah. And I be trying to tell people about that. It ain't for everybody, but if you really gonna go hard, it could work.
Yeah, it's for the willing. It's for the
Yeah,
women.
definitely.
Yeah, you got to be definitely cut from a particular cloth. I mean, you know, I've tried to, you know, influence people in different directions because they ask questions and they seem to be curious. But you know, you know, if you know anything about another entrepreneur, y'all, it's just some fabrics in you that you just got that they got, and then the other folks don't, because you know, there's definitely a place for employees out here in this world. People,
Definitely.
you know, and even in my industry, trying to groom supervisors. Some people just don't want that responsibility. And you know, and from a former athlete, you know, and as we somewhat are you know, have that in common, you know, the people that don't want to really put that work in, you know, they don't really, they okay with comfortable, you know. That $1,000 check was real good at 16. It motivated people to go get another $1,000 check, not to go in the opposite, to go get the $10,000 check. It's like, wow, this $1,000, and it's a place for that, you know. But yeah, as owners, we know that we have a different something just different about us.
We definitely wired different.
It's like, and I tell, you know, like I tell, like, we just, and when I say different, it's a difference that people just won't get or won't understand. I can understand a 9 to 5. I don't expect them to understand me because, you know, because we've walked in their shoes, and I don't expect them to walk in mine. You know what I'm saying? But because, like you said, I think there are more places for workers than there are for owners. And you know, so if somebody decides they want to live their life, you know, 9 to 5, retire, more power to them. I don't knock that at all.
And that's a place for, and that's the way this system that they've created, it's a place for that. And sometimes it's nothing wrong with it, because there's people who, my dad fed his family from Chrysler off of a 9 to 5.
You know,
he still had a real grind about him, because he took that seriously. A different era, but once you tip your toes, or you saw that $10,000 check, it's just something that should have, you know, activated in you. And it was me at an early age. I was selling pencils and NFL football pencils in the sixth grade, and I didn't know that that's where that came from. But when I reach back, and when I get these type of conversations, or I'm asked those questions, now I harp on, okay, I did have something even before I knew what it really was.
Right. And it's like that with everything, you know, whether it's athletics, whether it's entertainment, you know, so it's like there's always that something in somebody that's going to take them in a direction. And, you know, like I teach a business camp for students, and, you know, it's open to anybody. And sometimes you could tell from day one who got it and who parents sent them there, or who think they got it. And it's no knock on anybody. I do tell people, I recommend everyone start a business one time. I'm not saying quit your job, but I'll say find something that you're good at and try to sell it, just so you understand the process of buying and selling. Because I think one of the problems that we have also in our community is that people don't really appreciate what success is and what it looks like. And that's how jealousy pops up. You know, like, you know, you'll never hear me say somebody is filthy rich, or that people have obscene profits, things like that, because, you know, those type of things have been ingrained in us, not to really want to, not to really look up or appreciate what it takes for someone to create wealth. And a lot of times what that does is it causes that divide between the have and the have not, for the entrepreneurs and the 9 to 5s. And I hate that. And we can't afford that in our community. We really, really can't. Like, I got to support somebody who goes to work every day. And I hope that they will support what we're doing, because we're trying to build a community, and the community is built of everybody doing this.
It's part of the ecosystem for sure. Yeah. Because if they not working at 9 to 5, they're not spending money with us. It all reciprocates.
Exactly.
We all need each other. We don't have the product to sell them, then they got to go outside of us to get it. So it's all an ecosystem that it's a balance in that, you know, some people that work, people that run an entrepreneur. But I think being an entrepreneur, you got to, it's like you say, we're wired different, and you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable because you're going to be in those situations. You're going to be in those situations, not knowing when the next thing coming, or trying to figure out when you're trying to scale your business, or, you know, when you want to go to the next level, you might have the skill set, but you might not have the equipment, or you might not, you know what I'm saying, figure out how to tap into this bigger network of people. Because myself, like, one of my biggest things I think that's helping me, like, far as building my company, is I always wear something of my company's. Like, if I even have on a podcast t-shirt, I have on a cigar t-shirt, or I have on a clothing line t-shirt. So that way I'm a walking billboard. Even if somebody don't say nothing to me, I can watch their eyes read in my t-shirt. You know, and that's a scale of promotion. Then if somebody even say something, then boom, that's when I turn into the salesman. We get the conversation going. I give them business cards, whatever. And I think that just being able to do that networking, and then with social media is changing the game, man. There's so many ways that we could take advantage of this. Free promotion, like just making reels or just posting it. And like, once people share it and get it going, you never know where it's going to come from. You know what I'm saying? And I just think we need to take advantage. A lot of times we be on Facebook and Instagram for the bullshit, but if you put that same energy in branding your company or your business, you'll scale up quicker than you would think. Because a lot of people that they see what you're doing, even if you post something, you don't have a lot of likes. You know how many times I'll post something, people don't even like the podcast. I'll post an episode, or we be live on an episode, motherfucker don't like it, don't comment. I bump into them and they can tell me everything I talked about. So motherfuckers is watching.
They watching. They pay attention.
They are watching. So you know what I'm saying? You just got to put out there, just keep putting out what you're putting out, and then when they need your services, they gonna come around. And I've noticed that over the years and how that's working. And I just think we need to take advantage of every tool that's available, because I'm in my garage, y'all in y'all crib. Well, we all in our houses, but we in 3 different states. I'm in Arizona, he's in Michigan, you in the DMV, right? We're really having a conversation in 3 different states, and it's being viewed across the world. I can pull up the analytics, and I know it's more than just the United States watching us, because I know I got following overseas as well. But we reaching people, and at this time, if we can reach people talking, we can reach them with our product as well. And it ain't cost us nothing but some time, and it's time that we investing in that we get back on ourselves. And a lot of people don't realize I think the key in trying to market your product, or like how you say the friend thing, worrying about the friend thing. Man, you know how many strangers it is in this world that spend money. You're gonna make more money from the people you don't know.
Every time.
I met maybe in the last 6 to 7 months in the cigar business, man. Let me tell you, they share and post and redo more of my stuff than people I knew all my life.
Look, I tell you all the time, you think Jeff Bezos cares if his cousin buys on Amazon?
Not at all.
Right.
He don't need
give it a buck. You don't care like this. What? Oh, you didn't. No, you
I wish I could turn this camera around. You can see it's 7 Amazon boxes literally behind this camera right now.
Look, my book is on Amazon. He fine with it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's all about just taking advantage of these situations, man. Because the situation is here, and like even just the basic of business startup, or understanding what people want. Like I see a lot of people jumped into the t-shirt business like during the pandemic. And that's one business I've been doing since college, since I was at Hampton University in the dorm room doing it with an iron. And it's a business I will never give up. I'll be 70 years old still pressing these t-shirts. And people are like, oh, well, everybody doing it. So what? You do what you do.
Great analogy. The bread one was an awesome analogy. And I'm an analogy guy, man. I use that a lot. But the bread thing was something that I actually stole from you. You know, when people go, well, I don't know if I should start that, or I don't know if I should do that. You know, somebody else was doing that and it didn't work. And when you said, well, you go down the bread aisle and it's 20 different loaves of bread, you think any one of them on that shelf said they shouldn't, come out with their own loaf of bread because it was somebody else's on the shelf. No, exactly. You give people variety. You give people your flavor, and put your spin on it, because, until you get out there and you really, make your mark, it's no telling what somebody's going to like, and that's what a lot of times people are afraid. They're afraid to take chances. And then they give up pretty quick too. So that's one of the things, I tell people, man, you can't give up.
You gotta weather that storm.
Yeah, you definitely can't be giving up,
Yeah. And I say all the time, I say there's not one company on this planet that has 100% of the market share of anything.
Yep.
Right. Even they dominate. I mean, like, Amazon gets 13% of all Black Friday sales. That means there's 87% that somebody else can get.
And that's
as much as they make. Yeah, right. As much as they make, they're not even close to half.
Yep, that's crazy.
That's not even close to half.
That should put it in perspective. And like being able to make it through the hard time. You think about anybody that was great in life, right? If they stopped when they started, where would they be? Malcolm X would still be Malcolm Red. Maya Angelou would be a prostitute. You know what I'm saying? Like, think of all the people, if they would have gave up at that point and just stuck it where they was at. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's all about the like Nip say, it's the marathon. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to win the sprint, but the life is marathon. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep figuring it out. And I just think like platforms like this, where we're gonna always push positivity and information. Everybody, like you say, everybody ain't built to be an entrepreneur. Even if you're a 9-to-5 worker, get your bread. We want you to do that too, and then spend some of it with us.
Right.
And that's just one of my big things on that. But I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. This is a hot topic that everybody's been talking about, and like I said, we've been on hiatus. We've been working on branding Kasi Cigars, but we gonna get to somebody got to mute their thing. I'm hearing myself. Y'all got it playing somewhere else, but Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, left Jackson State University. I'm an HBCU alum, and so is Carl. And I just want y'all to take on it. I'm gonna start with Carl. I know Carl got he a little fired up about the situation. So I'm gonna let you go first. Let me feel how you feel about Deion taking the job at Colorado.
All right. So let me first of all start off by saying, I'm gonna put my Stephen A. voice on. Let me start off by telling you, okay. I always been a Deion fan. I've always rocked with. I love the cockiness, like that's my dude. Like I rock with it. Of course, I had the shoes and all that. I support that. I'll never hate on a man going to get bread either. You know what I'm saying? I'm a capitalist through and through. You know,
okay.
I love when people go make their money.
Yes, sir.
However, when it came to my man, Coach Prime, my huge disappointment in him was that, to me, based upon what he said, he didn't hold up to his word. The man talked about, what he wanted to do for, of course, Jackson State, but what he wanted to do for HBCUs, telling folks 4- or 5-star recruits that it's better to go to a HBCU than not even just Jackson State, any HBCU, than to go to a PWI. I'm going to build this up. I'm doing this. He said God told him to do all this, and he said it's not about the money. And then all of a sudden, he up and it's about the money, and without explanation, and I understand that, hey, look, go from $300,000 a year to $300,000 a month. I did. I understand that piece of it.
Yeah, but we capitalists,
right? But when you say it's not about the money, then it kind of right. And then part of it also was, it seems like he didn't give anybody else a chance to present him anything. It was like, you know what, I'm up and out. And I understand he's trying to get his son into the league, possibly a Heisman candidate, get into a Power 5 bowl game. All of these things I believe are relevant to the conversation. But as an HBCU grad, knowing what our schools have gone through, especially over the last 15 to 20 years, because prior to this, I remember Walter Payton went to Jackson State. So it's not like we never were producing, the top tier talent.
Rick Mahorn with the Hampton.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? Right. So it's not like we don't have a history of producing great athletes, but because of TV deals and things like that, our best have been leaving us for so long. And we've had a desire to to get them to come to us. Like, you know, we wish AI would have came to hand. You know what I'm saying? All this type of stuff.
He's on campus enough.
Right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? I think, look, he dogged me behind Hawkins. So I'm saying I get it. But you know, so there was a lot that he gave hope. Honestly, he gave hope. He had us supporting him. I don't support other schools, not because I hate on them, because I only went to Hampton, you know. But I'm sitting here rooting for Jackson State because I'm like, Jackson State coming up the way that they were, having a notable coach, you know, getting all the NIL deals, all that. That's going to be good for Hampton. That's going to be good for FAMU. That's going to be good for the other HU in Northwest. So all of that type of stuff that was pulled out from under us because of the way that he left. Again, as I was saying earlier, I was looking forward to 10 years from now. There would have been a huge change on the landscape, not only of collegiate athletes, but also colleges in general, because we know that the athletic departments bring in real bread for these big schools. We talk about millions. I mean, they're able to build whole buildings based upon what football teams do or what basketball teams do. You 100%. Know, and we aren't able to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times our athletic departments are paid for out of the endowment, as opposed to, you know, that money being because of what is fully drawn. And that's because we need the credibility and the notoriety that a Coach Prime would do. And, you know, the last thing I'm going to say, I know people say, well, he left the blueprint. He left them better off than they were. Not necessarily, because the one thing, and Bomani Jones said it best. He said the one thing that Deion Sanders has been telling everybody over the past 30 years is that there is only one Deion Sanders and nobody can do what he did. And then he's going to do what he did and then leave. I got a problem with it.
I can respect that. What you think, Kev?
Man, it must be the money.
No, I can't go wrong. Right.
Man, it must be the money.
I mean, back in the day.
You know, again, being an athlete, man, you know, and honestly, I tell people this: one day I'm gonna write this book, you know, that's gonna be, you know, athletically driven from the mindset of an athlete. Put it like that. I definitely understand. He sold himself and created the image that, you know, it was going to be something that, you know, the other schools could mimic. And as you said, Carl, there's only one Deion Sanders. I don't know who else could bring that type of, you know, there's plenty of, I mean, Ed Reed just got Bethune-Cookman, right? Mm-hmm. You know, so there's another all-pro, you know, but not with that same image. So, you know, had he would have stuck it out maybe another year, you know, he got him to a bowl, you know, he got, you know, the top 5, a 5-star recruit. He got other 5-star recruits, you know, in the mindset that, you know, okay, maybe this might be a good thing, you know, following behind somebody who has that type of swagger, that image, you know. That's why they came there. Not so much as that they was worried about, you know, if they was gonna get to the league and all of that. That he sold all that before they got there. But yeah, to up and leave in such a short manner, you know, I think it may do a little bit more damage than he's thinking it's going to be. And I mean, like we all say, we all know, you know, the money is at the end of the road, but you know, it definitely left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth.
That's fair. Me personally, I kind of got mixed feelings on it. Being a HBCU alum and an athlete, I understand that it's underserved for sure. The whole HBCU experience is underserved, and then a lot of our athletes, if we got like far as higher ranking athletes, sometimes they be kickbacks or someone that went somewhere else and then came back to HBCU. So I think the attention and the energy that he brought to HBCUs was a beautiful thing. But at the end of the day, I'm not mad at somebody for advancing their career. We know he's already rich. He probably don't need the money, but we can't say nobody don't need the money because we don't know nothing about what somebody was. What we just see the show. We don't understand what's going on behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying?
Very true.
So, but that being said, it was a lot of other little small things that's been coming out about, you know, financial issues with the school, doing different things, whatever. It seems like he was trying to not shit on the school and not say it, just go, well, they did this, that, and the third. But little things are starting to come out. But my thing is this: we're all businessmen, right? At the end of the day, we got to take the emotion out of it. See, our feelings about it, like Carl, yours is, and myself, we both went to Hampton University. We met in political science class. Yeah. You know, we've been rocking ever since then. So we got a personal attachment to HBCUs, and we understand that. But if I take my feelings and my emotional thing out of HBCU, and I just understand what business is, and it just is what it is. Like when I got recruited to come to Hampton, the coach that recruited me left. He went to Evansville, and I was a JUCO transfer. So I couldn't even make another move if I wanted to, unless I would have went D2 or I'd have lost eligibility. You know what I mean? That's just the nature of business. And so I'm not mad at him. I understand you in a bigger position. And he still helped out. He helped the school, helped them new facilities. He helped coaches get paid. Even the coaches that he taken with him, they making more money than they ever made in their career. And he set a blueprint for the new coach. I think his name is TC. Now his boy got hired to help keep it going. So I wouldn't say I'm mad at him. I honestly wish he would have did like a 5 to 10 year stint there, because I know the energy that he could brought to the whole HBCU community. And being an HBCU alum, you know, a part of me is that attachment. But if I take my feelings out of it, just think as a businessman, I think that was a power move. And anybody in that position would have took it. So
I can't necessarily say anybody, right? And I'll talk about myself in particular. Early in my career, I'm a cybersecurity specialist as well. You know, I'm an ethical hacker. Mm-hmm. And early in my career, I got a lot of certifications. I was moving very fast. And if anybody knows, it's less than like 6% of STEM jobs are held by Black men. Mm-hmm. So I could easily consider myself in high demand. And so I got approached by a number of different firms, some of the big fours, some of the big sixes, to say, hey, come work for us. Of course, more money, more prestige, easy way to partner, stuff like that. But the company that hired me, they took a chance on me. I was a political science major, and they brought me in to be an IT auditor. When I'll be honest, I didn't know what IT audit meant or was. It was really, they looked out for me coming out of politics. A brother in my church was the head of the IT department there. He's like, look, come on in and we'll train you. And they did, and they paid me. And I learned really quickly to get through it. And so when that stuff came along, I had to think about the loyalty. I decided to be loyal, and I stuck with it. Yes, I'm talking about easily, $30,000, $40,000 increases. Like it was nothing, being able to travel, doing all this type of stuff. But I said, nah, I'm going to stay where I am. I'm going to stay where I am. And, and a lot of time I told him maybe once or twice, but most of the time I didn't even tell him some of the offers that I was getting, because he took a chance on me the same way Jackson State took a chance on Dion when Dion couldn't get a coaching job anywhere else. So, and mind it was not a 300% increase. I get that. I'm saying? I'm not even gonna fake, but sometimes things can, you can even make negotiations to what you do. Like, at that point, I was able to talk to my boss and say, hey, look, I would like to have a little more flexibility. I would like to do more of the travel stuff. That's how I ended up in Detroit for 7 months. That's how I ended up going. Like most of my winters were spent in LA and Miami working. So, it was like, hey, look, I'm giving this up. Let's talk. And he was happy to do it, and because people will reward loyalty. And I think that even if he would have decided to go to another HBCU, let them know, look, these are the problems that I'm having. I'm not going to put it all out there, but there's some problems. I want to come in. I need some guarantees. Now we're talking about, again, Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. He could have made that money off of marketing alone, off of branding alone of himself. He could have brought in $3 million, $4 million a year for himself and his family if he played it right. I get it. He does not have to do anything. But as was said, He sold a dream and then threw water on the people that were sleeping with him. You know, so like that's what blows me about it the most, because I try my best to be a man of my word. And if I decide to go back on my word of something that I say, you know, because I have the freedom to do so, I do believe that people are owed an explanation, not hey, I did enough for y'all, be grateful, but to say, hey, I know I said this. My goal was to do this. Hopefully, you know, I've left enough to help you out, but at least be a little bit humble with it. But we all know Dion ain't never been a humble dude.
Never.
You know, so maybe it was just wrong for us to put that type of trust in him. You know,
well, at the end of the day, in business and then especially in sports, and we all know that a lot of players get cut in the middle of the night. They be on a plane and got traded. And when you're in a position where you control your own fate, you got to move how you want to move. Because just say if he was a flop, we wouldn't have no problem with him going somewhere else. If he went to Miami of Ohio or some shit like that,
or they cut him, or they said, you know, this ain't working.
You know what I'm saying? That's just the nature of business. Like I say, being an HBCU alum, we have an attachment to this community.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's hard for I get it. I totally get it. But when I take the emotions out of it and just think straight business, it's no way I could be mad at the man for taking that position, because even with your loyalty with that company on a 30K increase is a life-changing amount of money. But think if they came back and say, look, Carl, I know what you're making. I'm gonna give you $4.2 million a year to come to our company. And I'm not saying you're money driven like that, because I can't put that on you. But me personally, I have to go sit down with the company. I want to say, look, I appreciate everything you've done for me, but it's a situation that I got on the floor that I got to accept. This is a place to put generational wealth in my family, and I have to take it. And I think that when that type of situation comes up, that's the nature of the beast. Like, I wish he would have stayed 10 years and helped build that community. I wish that I knew more about HBCUs when I was younger and try to get all the top players that I knew that I was friends with to come to Hampton together, and we could make a Fab Five at an HBCU. That would have been dope as hell. But I didn't have the information then. You know what I'm saying? So I say, go ahead.
And I think, like you say, take the emotion out of taking on it. And I agree. And I always do my best to take the emotion out. That's why, you know what I'm saying, I don't hate the man. I watched the joke with him and Shannon Sharp. I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. You know what I'm saying? I'm not upset. I'm not like that deeply. I'm not quote unquote hurt about it. But you say take the emotion out of it. But the problem is he used emotion to sell it. He didn't just use business to sell it. And this wasn't like with my company when I did it. Now I was free to go. I never even told them I would be loyal. I decided to. You know what I'm saying? But when you say that you're there for the long term, you say that this is why I'm doing this. You say that it's not about the money, and then you go back on it. I'm not saying don't go back on your word, but be humble about the approach in saying it. You know, again, he didn't even give anybody else a chance to holler. I don't know if any, you know, it's like, hey, look, I'll go to one of these bigger schools that have more money who might be able to position me a little better. Honestly, he could have gone to any of these on the East Coast and been able to market himself better to make more money. I mean, there's a lot of things he could have done to do that. And I would love to tell people to take the emotion out of it if it wasn't sold on emotion. It wasn't sold on business.
You want one of the most cockiest athletes in the history of athletics to be humble. It ain't even in him.
I get it. No, I get that. But see, that's why you gotta. So then he got to know that he's going to be held accountable for his words. This is not upset. This is accountability. I'm like, you said this, so now I can't really trust your word no more.
But in defense of him, every coach I ever played for sold you that same dream. If a better position came, they dipped. How many of them said it's not about the money? How many of them said it was God that sent them there? Well, I don't really get into religious stuff, but he said God told him to leave too. So if we don't know. God ain't tell us that he told him that. I didn't get the text. I wasn't a part of that group chat. Right. So we can't. When he say that stuff like that, you know, you got to take that with a grain of salt. But you don't know. Yeah, right. But you don't know if God really did tell him to leave. Like, yeah, you did enough. It's time for something else. So we can't really. And I think they use that as just like the churches use it. You know, you play on that emotion with religion. You know how that go.
Yeah, but, I mean, right. And I'm a religious dude. So, you know, but the thing is, I wouldn't play like that. I wouldn't play like that.
But what if he's not playing? See what I'm saying? We can't even question that. Right. You know, I think that was a good exit strategy for him.
Right, because he was like God was speaking to me, not you.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, you know how I go, you go on Apollo to get the boy, you switch to a gospel song. You can make it through it. Sandman ain't gonna come when you sing about Jesus.
And but like you said, to expect one of the most cocky athletes in the history of athletics. Right, not even just football, athletics
in a whole.
You know what I'm saying? To be humble and not be out for himself probably was a mistake on our community's part.
Yeah,
just to be real, because like you said, this was something, and you know, we have a Messiah complex. Let's be honest with you, we do, and it's not necessarily the best thing. And we think somebody gonna save us. We do with politicians. We do it. That's why celebrities have more pull in our homes than parents do. But I ain't gonna get into all that. So we have a Messiah complex. So, you know, again, and I fell into it this time because look, I had some business deals that I felt was gonna work because of where he is. Like I said, I work with a couple of NIL folks. I'm like, look, we're all gonna make bread off this joint. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have my emotions in this because I'm like, I'm gonna create these marketing plans for these kids. And you know, Virginia just let, you know, just started saying high school students get their, oh man, stop playing with me, bro. This show is about to be crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
I get emotional about my money. I'm a big word out here.
Exactly.
You play my money, you play my emotions.
And it's understandable. Like I say, though, we just gotta, you know, we take it for what it's worth. Like I say, one thing I can say I think he left the program better than what he found it, especially with the facilities and different things he did. You know what I'm saying?
So that goes without saying. Yeah,
because a lot of people don't. A lot of people jump ship once, you know, and don't and leave situations like even with. When, like I say, when Murfield left Hampton, you know what I'm saying? He got a job at Evansville, whatever, Evans State, whatever it was. He just dipped. I didn't get a text from him or a call like, hey, I'm leaving, blah, blah, blah. And this the guy who recruited me. They could have, and you know how that go. They could clear house. They could have left me stinking. Luckily, the assistant coaches, I was cool with them. You know what I mean? So I ended up doing my last 2 seasons with Hampton. So I just understand that coaching game. I remember when I was in JUCO and I took a red shirt year before I came to Hampton. And shit, my coach didn't even really fuck with me after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I ain't scoring no points for him no more, he left me stinking. Luckily, I was cool with the athletic director. He made sure I got all my books and stuff to finish up the associates. But I just know how this coaching game go, and it's cutthroat. Especially with, and then it's kind of balancing out with the players because of the transfer portal. You can dip and still be eligible to play instantly. Right. So it's some give and take on each end. But like I say, I'm not mad at him. I wish he would have stayed and helped build the HBCU community because, like I say, Hampton University got a piece of my heart forever. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I can't stop no man from getting their bag, no matter how much money they already got.
And like I said, I always look at that and know, like, look, bro, I can't knock that. I can't knock that part. But I'm still gonna be like, hey, you know, you Jai left us hanging when you said you wasn't. That's just where I am with it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like,
I respect that.
It's just it's a level of accountability that I'm gonna hold him to. But I dare not tell him to quit his job. Dare not.
But maybe choke. Exactly.
Like, you need to quit. Give your money to charity.
Yeah, I ain't never that. Get to do what you do, man. Right. Look, man, I appreciate you, brother's time. We coming up on a tight hour. Like I said, I don't like to keep people too long because, you know, niggas got short attention spans. But on some real shit, I'm gonna solo out everybody. I want you to run down your business, what you got to offer, any social media handles you want to shout out. I'm gonna start out with you, Carl. Go ahead and do your thing. All
right. How y'all doing? I'm Carl Gray. I'm the author of the 7-Day Business Plan. It's a 7-day book to grow your business model. It's on Amazon. You can visit www.7daybusinessplan.com to get a copy. And, you know, when you order, if you put your Amazon number in, you also get the ebook. January the 9th through the 12th, I'm doing a 4-day free for all business owners and entrepreneurs, a 4-day business challenge for you to kick off this year with the right resolutions, right goals, you know, setting smart goals. And, you know, I look forward to working with people. My goal is to help 500 entrepreneurs launch, grow, start, and scale their businesses this year. You can visit newyear.launchwithcarl.com. And I appreciate you, Rob, for having me on, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you for pulling up. Stay on.
Indeed.
Shoot it out, Kev.
Oh, man, this was a pleasure, man. This is my first podcast live. You know, I know you've been trying to get me on here, and I really appreciate this opportunity. You know, I'm the owner of Kevin's All Season Lawn and Landscaping here in Michigan. We're a 4-season company providing, year-round maintenance for commercial and residential and municipalities. So our company is kevinsallseason.com, and you can follow us on Instagram at Kevin's All Season. You can follow us on Facebook, we provide high quality level service, full landscape designs. So I'm looking forward to the next podcast.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks to everybody that tuned in, all the comments, everybody that liked it. Make sure y'all share it. Let's run it up. And Cigars with Friends, Real Ish Radio Network. We're about to bring some more podcasts, and I've got other people that's going to be having podcasts on my network. So stay tuned for that. Make sure y'all support Kasi Cigars. That is the brand, Kasi, KA-SI Cigars.com. It's right there at the bottom at the ticker. Make sure y'all tap in, follow us on Real Ish Radio on Instagram, and also follow Kasi.Cigars on Instagram. And keep supporting the movement. We're going to keep doing our thing, and we back. We're officially back, so we're dropping every week. Hopefully, we're going to stick to the Sunday schedule. We might have to adjust with events and other things that's going on. But make sure y'all stay tuned in, and we'll check y'all out on the next one. Love.
Said I struggle to get mine. Hustle from the bottom, no cause I'm a don't lie. 3